All right, here live. Just wanted to make sure everything was working out there. I didn't know if I was on mute or anything like that, but we're going to give it another go. Chris Ebom, Rise and Fire bets. We're doing a little Rise and Friday night bets. Something I'm going to start doing. I've been out of the content for the last couple of weeks with Tackle the Board no longer being part of a program that I'm doing. Russ decided to quit the show, work on his business. Totally understand. No problem. You got to allocate so much time for doing this, but this is something that I feel is important. I still have good info to bring out. I still want to interact with you guys. I'm on Twitter right now. I'm also on YouTube. Make sure everything is working good. Yep, I am on there right now, checking it out. Looking great per usual. Usually wearing a hat, but whatever. Late night, we got some college football tomorrow. Some college football games I like. And by the way, guys, if you have any comments, anything, shoot it in the YouTube. Let's get some questions. If you have some games that you're thinking about betting or anything like that, I'm gonna check it out with you, and we're gonna see what the best bet is for that game, whether it's going to be spread, total, whatever. We could find something for any game that you want to bet. But I got a couple games I really do like here. So let's just get into it. So tomorrow, Saturday, 12 o'clock, early kickoff, UConn at Army. It was around 10.5. Now it's dropped down to 9.5 right now. It's crazy. One of the craziest stories is UConn right now. Three wins in a row. Unbelievable. Covering the spread practically every game this year. Only 2 games they haven't covered the spread yet. So they've been a covering machine. So if you've been on the Huskies for football, you've been cashing in, and it's been pretty awesome. So yeah, I mean, they haven't been able to do anything wrong here. And now Army, they're at home right now, and I'm looking at the stats of like what they can do here pretty much. And what I'm looking at UConn right now, their rush defense is not that great. They're ranked 74th in the country. I mean, it's a big improvement from their past years because they've been fucking terrible at everything. But Army always the triple option running it the whole time. They're going to control that clock, make sure that UConn doesn't get that ball. I'm not sold on them. I think this is a great spot for Army right here. Usually I don't like this kind of line movement at like 9, dropping down to 9.5. But you know what? UConn's been covering so much. I like this spot right here, especially winning 3 games in a row. That's absolutely outrageous. So give me Army here. They should be able to beat this team pretty handedly. I think especially just the run game, I think they'll be fine. I mean, there was a point last year, UConn, they were 34-point favorite. That's dropped down a lot because they've been covering every game from last year when UConn played Army. Army hasn't been all that great with the rush defense this year, but their pass defense has been good. They're ranked 14th in the country, so that's starting to get better now. Originally, I thought that defense was going to be there in the beginning of the season, but then they were getting torched. So it has improved like I thought it was going to. So I really do like Army here. I think this is a great spot. Everyone's taking UConn because they've just been a covering machine. But Army should be able to run over these guys, and we can win this game by double digits. I have no problem watching this all day. Triple option. Army, give it to me 9.5. The next game, I have 2 first half bets that I really like here. All right, guys. Old Dominion and Appalachian State. Okay. Old Dominion took advantage of them last week. James Madison absolutely trounced them. A team that just has been terrible since that Virginia Tech game, it seems like. But let me see what Old Dominion's done. They won that Virginia Tech game. We found out they suck and they're frauds. Virginia Tech is terrible. And then they played ECU, UVA. I mean, they haven't been really that great for the most part. They're coming off 4-game losing streak here, scoring 3 points, 0 points, 17, 23. I mean, this Old Dominion team, I was like, oh man, the first game, at home being Virginia Tech, that was a big deal. And, maybe they were something, with a bunch of, seniors in there and everything. But they have really fallen off. They just really cannot score, especially in the first half. They're a very slow starting team. Appalachian State over here, they've been putting up points like crazy. 21, 28, 42, 42. This is a spot that, they do put up points, but they're also really slow starters as well. And they have a really good rushing attack. As I'm looking here, they're 52nd, so it's still pretty good. But the main thing is Old Dominion's rush defense is one of the worst in the country. They give up a bunch of yards. Their passing yards are good for Appalachian State. They're 26th in the country in passing yards, putting up pretty much for the most part. And yeah, I mean, this offense should be able to move the clock, take care of business, kill that clock, moving the chains. And I actually really like the under in the first half here. And the under I got here was under 26.5. I really like it here. I think they just control the clock. 26.5 points is a lot of points for his first half, especially with an Old Dominion team that can't really score. And if you're looking at what App State has done on defense, they're 24th in the country in total yards allowed. And meanwhile, Old Dominion is 110th in the country offensive total yards. So this is a spot where Appalachian State, get 3 and outs on them constantly. When I look at what they have done in the first half, this is what I was talking about here. So let me get to some of these here. So James Madison, which I was all over last week, my favorite game last week, first half, that was great. Only scoring 3 points there. At home, not good. Marshall, they got shut out. That was 0 points there. That was no shot there. We're going to go to the game before that. Georgia State, they scored 14 points. That was a little high for them, but Georgia State hasn't been all that great on defense in general. So I think this is just a game where clock's just going to be run down. There's going to be punts. It's just Appalachian State's kind of a slow starter, like I said. Looking at a couple of their games here, they scored 7 points in the first half last week. And they still put up 21 points. The second halves, they've been really putting on points for the most part. So I really like this under here. I think they're in a really good spot here for just killing the clock, and I love this under here. I don't think a lot of people are looking at this. I think Old Dominion, people are kind of forgetting about this team because they're just so shitty, but we can definitely cash in with this. So I like the under 26.5. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, under 26.5, Old Dominion, Appalachian State. And you could also find all my bets on BetStamp, all documented. As of right now, my record is right now at the moment. Let's see here. Currently, I just started losing a little bit in college, so I'm feeling pretty good with these plays. Get back on the right track. I've been up all year on college football, and we're like a minus 4% ROI right now, which isn't the worst thing in the world. NFL, on the other hand, has been 21% ROI, so it's been really, really good. So that is something that I'm liking there as well. And guys, remember to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, especially on Twitter. Everything goes a long ways for me. You know me, always trying to rise and fire on bets. That's what I'm about. If you ever want to come on and talk with me on Friday nights, hit me up on my DMs at Chris Ebom on Twitter. I can have you on, man. I would love to have some winners. Maybe there's something with other sports, basketball, anything, hockey. I don't even care, man. I like winners. I know we all like them, and some guys are good at some other sports. So, excuse me, man. I'm fighting this cold over here. It's not great, but Appalachian State under 26.5, I really like as well. And finally, another first half play that I really like here. We're going to another academy over here. Colorado State at Air Force. The spread for the game itself is 21.5. I actually like the first half line. And what I got them at for the first half line is Air Force minus 11.5. All right, so hear me out here. Okay, so Colorado State has not been able to score. It's the same kind of situation with Georgia Southern. The offense is absolutely fucking terrible. I mean, you look right down the stats on their offense. 127th in total yards, 107th in passing yards, 124th in rushing yards. Points scored, 131st in the entire country scoring points, 12.9 points a game. And you know what Air Force does? The defense has been on absolute fire. 4th in total yards allowed, 1st in passing yards defended, rushing yards defended, points scored. This defense doesn't give up a whole lot of points. Now you're going to be playing at home. And Colorado State is fucking terrible. And what I really like as well, I know 11.5 is a lot for a rushing team, especially for the first half, like Air Force is, but they can throw at times. I mean, they don't really utilize it as much because we know they love running the ball. But Colorado State, the worst part of their defense is their rush defense. They're 79th in the country. Air Force, one of the best rushing teams in the country, averaging 340 yards rushing per game. So when I look at what Air Force has done as a double-digit favorite, so this is what we're looking at here. Air Force is a big double-digit favorite. Last week, we saw that with New Mexico and how they did in the first half. They were up 14-0 at half. They shut them down completely, the Lobos. No problem. I'm going to their next double-digit game. They played UNLV at UNLV, who's also favored by double digits against Hawaii, which I still think is a pretty interesting line for the most part. And let's see what else we got here. So double-digit favorites we're looking at for Air Force over here. And there was one game, well, they're getting double-digit points. So, and well, actually, were they getting 11.5 there? Was that Coastal? No, hold on. I'm jumping ahead here. I'm looking at Appalachian State. I apologize there. Okay, so I was looking there. So we're back. Sorry. We're back at Air Force. All right. 21-point favorites. They smashed the first half against New Mexico. UNLV, 10-point favorites, smashed over there as well. Let's see. Is that Utah State? Did they play Utah State? Okay. Utah State, they still held a lead, being 11-point favorite. It wasn't a huge one. They ended up losing that game outright, which I don't think Colorado State could have a chance of beating these guys outright. So I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see. We have Nevada. When they played Nevada at home, 24-point favorite. Let's see what they did there. Air Force had 24 to 7 at halftime. I mean, teams that they're supposed to beat, like legitimately, like double-digit favorites, they've smashed in the first half if they're going to win the game. If they aren't going to win the game, then it's been a close first half. So they either start off real hot and they dominate, or they don't and they're going to lose. And I don't see them losing at all to Colorado State. I don't see that happening here. Yeah, so I really like Air Force here for the most part. Let's see what else. All right. So yeah, Air Force minus 11.5. Really like that there. Yeah, so that's a really good spot there. And once again, guys, I thank you for subscribing to the Old Tackle Aboard page. It's now Rise and Fire Bets. You're still getting good info. I'm going to try to have a scheduling for Friday nights. So right now it's kind of a spur of the moment, late night. So this is kind of like, if you will, a little FOMO. Hopefully that's what I'm trying to do with this for the most part. This show is not going to be really lasting long for the entire week, like my past shows that have happened before. So this is kind of, Friday night, getting through the week, seeing how the line change has been moving and everything. I think that's a great element for having a show like this on Friday. So we get to see the line movements. I'm used to doing the show during, the beginning of the week, and we have to wait to see how some of these lines move and everything like that. And then you would see my plays later on and stuff, but my plays already locked in. I'll put them in Twitter tomorrow so everyone can see. And then also I will have some Pickswise articles coming up as well, and I'm going to get into those as well. So a game that I did a write-up on for Pickswise, Indiana Hoosiers, Michigan State. This is a pretty interesting game. Let me get what I have up here. One second. Michigan State, they did play Rutgers last week. So they were up double digits at the end, and they ended up giving up the backdoor cover to Rutgers. That was real late. I think it was like a minute left. Should have easily covered that. They did not, unfortunately, but that will work that to our advantage here. So when I look at what this game has to offer here, so what I have pretty much what I've been talking about here with this team is that the offense has been solid for Michigan State. They're building off back-to-back wins. Everything's been going well. Indiana Hoosiers has been a hot mess, been terrible in the Big Ten. They're ranked 120th in the country in total yards produced on offense and yards allowed. So they've been bad not only on offense but defense. People have been gashing these guys left and right. Quarterback play has been mediocre. I think Dexter Williams the second's going to play. Let me see real quick just to make sure. When I was doing my write up before, they just said they weren't going to announce it yet. Let me see where we're at right now with that. Let's see, Illinois. Let's see, yeah. He's still not naming a starter, which, I get it because like he needs that. It looks like he's probably gonna start Dexter the second. That's who I think he's gonna honestly start here because he has Dexter Williams the second, excuse me. I think he's gonna be starting because he's a run pass kind of quarterback. He uses his legs. I think he got like 87 yards the week before when he played. Had a pretty good performance, freshman. They need to figure out what they have on this Hoosiers team, and I think it's good learning experience to have a young quarterback like that, develop and everything like that, especially in a tough atmosphere like this for the most part. So so saying all this and everything, Michigan State should have covered last week. We're getting the benefit of the doubt here for the most part. They were covering that game, like I told you. Michigan State this year is 8-3-2 against the spread in their last 13 home games as they host Indiana, covering the spread there. So they have been pretty solid recently there. And Indiana has just been bad in general. So, I mean, they're 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 road games. The offense for Michigan State's been fantastic. Jalen Berger's been great, averaging 8 yards rushing he was averaging 8 yards rushing and over 5 yards a carry his last 2 games. So he's been absolutely on fire. Hand him off the ball. He's been getting you almost first downs constantly. So I really like that there. Jaden Reed, he's been averaging 20 yards catch, 79 yards during that stretch as well. And what I really thought was really impressive with this Spartans team is that Illinois game, who was pretty much like the best defense in the country based on statistics, give it what you will, playing the Big Ten, everything else, but they've been awesome, only giving up 14 points a game. They scored 23 points that game. I think that speaks volumes at the end of the day. And the fact I love that Michigan State did not cover that game. So give me Michigan State minus the 10.5. I think that's a really good spot for them as well. And finally, for college football, another write-up I did, you'll see tomorrow. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. Miami at Clemson. How bad is Miami, first of all? Miami has just not been good. I mean, up and down, 5-5, getting embarrassed at times, winning some games. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke pretty much going to be out for the most part. It's going to be another backup QB situation with Ja'Cory Brown. Last week, he was impressive against Georgia Tech. So I think he's probably going to play, dual threat quarterback, same kind of deal like Indiana. This is kind of like the same situations we're running into, except, excuse me, guys. But Clemson needs to dominate this game. I mean, after losing to Notre Dame, the spread's 19. If they don't cover this spread, I mean, they really don't have any shot of making this playoff. I mean, if they got to dominate this game and win this game by at least 20 points. And I understand Clemson hasn't been amazing this year. I mean, the record's good, don't get me wrong, but like the production hasn't been the best. But their quarterback for Clemson's been really good. He's accumulated 24 touchdowns, passing, rushing combo. The wide receiver group has been real solid. His top 5 wide receivers that he's been throwing to has been averaging 11 yards catch. Plenty of weapons. They have been dominant covering in conference play, 8-2 in their last 10 conference games. This is a must cover for these guys. Give me Clemson minus 19. Dabo's been like, oh, this team's so talented, Miami, blah, 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 coach talk. I don't think so. I mean, he's buttering these guys up to lay the smack down, the rise and fire and take care of business. So give me the Clemson Tigers minus 19. I think they take care of business. They have to, or they're not going to make it to the playoffs. And I'd rather side with the team like that. That's for sure. But I wanted to get into a NFL play as well. Let me see here 1 second. Remember, guys, if you're watching on Twitter, I appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic. Do all that good stuff. I appreciate that. All right, so NFL. My favorite NFL play, guys. It's kind of dirty, but I really do like it a lot. Give me the Broncos minus 2.5. And hear me out here. All right. First of all, we know the Raiders are terrible, right? Pass defense is horrible. I mean, they're like one of the worst in passing yards allowed. I mean, everyone's hurt. I mean, the offense is all banged up. Darren Waller's like on the IR. I believe Adams is banged up too. He'll probably play. But this is just this defense is no good, and the rails are officially falling off. And what I even like more, like the Raiders are not good, right? Everyone knows that they're waiting for McDaniels to get fired, all this stuff. Denver lost to these guys earlier. So you're telling me that the Raiders are going to sweep any team in the NFL? I don't think so. And I know how bad Denver has been, and they lost to Tennessee. They beat Jacksonville. So, I mean, you got to look at these kind of things here. They came off the bye and lost, but now going to be home. Defense is really solid. Weapons are, pretty much out for the Raiders, Las Vegas, if you will. Give me Denver on the discount, man. Like -2.5, no problem. Absolutely love it. My favorite player on the board. I think Wilson has a great game once again. I believe his game he had against them. Let me see, where was it at here? Denver. All right. So I remember stats were. I'm pretty sure stats are really good, and like rightfully so. Let's see. So Russ Wilson, 237 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, pretty much flawless football. So I love the Broncos here as well. If I'm looking at anything else that I really like, I mean, I took the Eagles when they were 8.5. That obviously dropped with Dallas Goedert news. I kind of rushed to that line because the Colts winning that game, there's so much emotion going into that game. And I really do believe the Eagles still cover this game. It went down to 6.5. Now it's starting to climb up to 7.5. It will probably be 8 by kickoff, most likely. People are buying back into the Birds. So I like them here. I think it's a great bounce back. I think they're kind of riding a high a little bit, the Colts. And, Jeff Saturday, no practice till Wednesday. These guys kind of smell themselves after that win. And I'm not buying it. And people are just throwing the Eagles under the bus at this point because they lost to the Commanders, the Commies, no. Eagles cover this game, no problem. I really like them there as well. If I look at another game that I'm kind of looking at for the most part, this Giants-Lions game is pretty interesting. Not going to lie. Lions coming off back-to-back wins. I like that for the Giants. Giants been getting a lot of good breaks with just like getting teams at the right time for the most part, it seems like. So I think they get it again here. I think Daniel Jones has a great game. And like honestly, I like Daniel Jones's game. Like he's got his legs he can run with, he can throw. He makes his mistakes with his fumbles, but honestly, I don't even think he's really even fumbled that much this year. I didn't really see him fumble really at all. And usually that was like his thing of like fumbling. So I mean, I like him personally, but but anyway, back to where I was there for the most part. So just make sure everything's there. Everything is fantastic. Thank you again, guys. Giants -3. This is what I'm looking at over here. So Giants. They just keep getting all the good breaks with all these teams coming in at the right time. Teams have been playing bad at their points and everything, but I like them in the spot here. I mean, do you realistically see the Lions winning 3 games in a row? I mean, like, no, absolutely not. Like, I think the over is still in play over here. That could be a possibility, but I mean, it's just give me the Giants here. I think it's a good spot here. I'm probably gonna play it. Let me see what the betting percentage is on this game. It's probably a lot of Giants. Yeah, it's probably 71%. I'm not too crazy about that, but the Lions coming off back-to-back wins, winning, low scoring game, then high scoring game. It looks like they can pretty much, win anyway. I'm still not buying it. They're not a good team. So give me the G-Men over there. And I think that's going to pretty much do it for me, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. If you could just like, subscribe, spread the word. I'm going to try to do this Friday night. Rise and Fire Friday nights over here. And then when the golf season starts, this is like my plan after football. I'm going to do like live betting Friday nights. So that's going to be my goal. I know guys are going to have plays that they locked in for, the beginning of the tournament. And sometimes they don't work out and you're dead in the water. You're looking for a bet to get some money in, to get some action and to, recoup the losses or, you know, get a first round leader, you want to bet a little bit more. And there's definitely matchup opportunities. There's matchup opportunities. There's top 20 opportunities that we could look into after the cut. So that's what I plan on doing in January. That's the plan once football starts dying down a little bit more. But I'll throw some football in there as well. So it's going to be kind of jam packed in January. But once football starts to dwindle down, then yeah, it will be golf full force. So I'm really excited about that as well. And yeah, I mean, I would like to have guests on. It's not a mandatory thing for me, but if you ever want to be on my show here, Rise and Fire Friday night bets, any of that good stuff, still working out the kinks a little bit, but hey, you want to join in, have a beer with me, whatever, absolutely love it. Thank you again, guys. I think that'll do it. That's like about, so a little recap here. Denver -2.5, absolutely love. That's my favorite NFL play on the board. Colorado State, Air Force. I like the -11, 11.5 for Air Force for the first half. Let's see. And then we also had Michigan State -10.5. We have Clemson -19. Let me look back at my board over here. Army -9.5. Absolutely love it. Probably my favorite college play tomorrow. They can definitely win that game by double digits. UConn's been a covering machine. That's got to end soon. They're not a good team. I know, and they won 3 games in a row. Absolutely outrageous. It's like the perfect storm for Army, and UConn can't really stop the run either. UConn winning 3 straight in a row, covering like 80% of their games this year. One of the best ATS teams in the country this year. That's going to regress. All that's going to regress, and we're all going to cash because of it. So Army -9.5, absolutely love it. And for the my last college play was under 26.5 first half. Old Dominion, App State. Both teams start off real slow. Old Dominion cannot even score. I don't even know if they're going to score a point in the first half. So you're telling me App State's going to score 27 points when they just run the ball and run that clock out? I don't see that. So I love that under as well. So those are my 3 top college plays. Army -9.5. Air Force -11.5 first half, and then Old Dominion App State under 26.5. And for Sunday, Denver Broncos -2.5. Thanks again, guys. Go Birds. I also like the Birds to win by double digits as well after the bounce back. Let's rise and fire. Let's have some fun. Let's rise and